Hello, this is Lisa Steinberg from Starry Constellation Magazine. I'm joined today by Gabrielle Nevaeh from Curses. Thank you for joining me today.
Me.
Pleasure to meet you. Congratulations on season two of the series.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be back.
Where do we pick up with the Vanderhoevens when we start season two? A lot has happened.
Yeah, so season two, we pick up and life has carried on. We've saved dad, and we're trying to adjust back to coming back into real life. And of course, in true adventure comedy horror fashion, things aren't quite settled. And things aren't, sunshine and rainbows. We've still got to return these artifacts, and on top of it, there's something weird happening with dad. So, season two is much bigger and much more expansive than season one is, and we really get to dive into who these characters are, and we go on a bigger and better adventure.
I love that season two amplifies both the family dynamics, but also the suspense-filled horror elements as well. What did you really, when you kind of started, I guess, reading through the scripts, or when you started to learn a little bit more about season two, what really kind of struck you or stood out to you about where we go this year, the season, excuse me.
Specifically with Pandora, I really enjoyed that we brought her friend into the mix. You know what I mean? Like it expanded her life. We got to dive into, yes, these kids have friends, and yes, these kids go to school, and yes, these kids have a life outside of being cursed. But, the curse 1,000,000% kind of takes the reins and takes control of the ship per se. So I think I was excited reading the scripts. I'm always excited reading the scripts as far as the horror is concerned, because I'm like, how is this going to be parlayed into animation? I know how this should look in live action, but how are we gonna make this into an animated project? And I'm always blown away seeing the final outcome because it's usually much different than what I envisioned. And it's usually much better than what I envisioned it being. Because seeing something on a piece of paper and then also getting to see it on screen, they're two different things. Someone might write, and she turns the corner, but that looks very different on screen. And I think that's the beautiful part of animation is that there's so many cooks in the kitchen and there's so many creative minds that are making this project a cohesive one.
Well, we talked, you mentioned about your friend, her Pandora's friend joining the mix this season, but something besides the horror elements and things like that that I love about the show is Pandora's relationship with her brother. There's this really great support system that the two have between each other. And I wanted to ask a little bit about the relationship dynamics that we get to see between them even further this season with two, now that everything is kind of amplifying itself.
Yeah, I mean, of course, with any brother-sister relationship, you have that, ugh, I think my brother's stupid, but I still love him. And I think that we still keep that element in season two while also showcasing the fact that they've been through a lot. They had to save their dad's life and go on this huge adventure of a lifetime. I think that bonds people in a really unique way that really can't be emulated in any other realistic circumstance. I mean, it could depending on how you look at it, but me personally, being an only child, I I can't imagine going through something like this with a sibling. And I think that in season two, we really have a beautiful time exploring, yes, there's still a comedy aspect of their personality rub, but they still love each other and they still care for each other.
I also like that the series kind of gives a spin on what the word normal is. Like normal to someone is a lot different to someone else in their household. So for this family, normal isn't exactly the usual soccer mom, bake sale type of family dynamic that we get to see from this series. I mean, ancient artifacts and adventures with spiders and things like that. That it kind of spins what a normal family dynamic or what normal the word normal means within this series.
Yeah, I mean, my normal looks very different than Pandora's normal. Like she's fighting big monsters. At breakfast, I'm probably just eating scrambled eggs. You know, think that that's such a fun aspect of curses in general. That's why I love the show is that their normal is very different. Like the audacity to call it normal. It's just like it's so it's so unique. It's there's nothing else like it.
Well, we mentioned at the beginning when we pick up with season two, the father Alex has returned. What kind of inter other family dynamics can we expect? Is there a hiccup or something that lingers when he comes back?
Yeah, so when Alex is integrated back into the family, he has to grapple with the fact that his kids are going on these really big adventures and they're putting themselves in danger because, yeah, he was turned to stone. He wasn't necessarily there for all of season one, getting to see them, out in what I like to call the Indiana Jones world.
Mhm.
Uh, but in season two, we see Alex kind of, all right, he kind of steps back and he's like, okay, my family's got this. But on top of it, he has to deal with his own aspect of the curse, his own unique experience with the curse that kind of lingers from season one into season two, and it lends to be another obstacle on top of trying to get these artifacts back to where they came from, on top of whatever physical obstacle that the family has to deal with. They've got what's happening with Alex, the lingering difficulty without spoiling too much from season one in season two. And that kind of pushes the family to new limits.
There has to be a kind of a guilt factor somewhere in there as well as a parent.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I mean, I can't speak for either of the actors who play my parents, but I know from, my perspective, playing that must be very interesting because, you have to kind of walk the line of yes, I'm playing a parent, but at the same time, going along with the adventure of it. So it's a nice healthy balance that our show showcases.
Well, just my final question is, what do you kind of hope lingers or fans kind of take away from watching season two, especially since we're getting so close here now? Halloween season, spooky season is starting, is just coming upon us.
I hope that Curses is a really great bridging opportunity for kids. I really hope that it's an introduction to the horror genre. For me, it was probably Gravity Falls growing up in the Goosebumps books that really introduced me to the horror genre. So I hope to be that for kids of this generation. I hope that people take away the familial aspect of our family, and I really hope that people enjoy season two as much as they enjoyed season one.